Story 1. Littering, especially when people throw trash out of car windows while driving, is frustrating. My boss does this and it drives me mad. Almost all destinations you drive to will have a trash can. Story 2. I would not exactly call it normal, but many people have a habit of interrupting others during a conversation. Story 3. Talking during a show that we have mutually agreed to watch together is fine. We do not have to sit in silence, but the conversation should be relevant and not excessive. If you have a lot to say, let's pause because I do not want to miss too much. Story 4. I would not call it normal, but someone who plays the pity party all the time. Zero ownership or accountability is a huge no-no for me. Story 5. Treating service workers as if they are beneath you. If being decent is conditional, you are not a decent person. Story 6. Waiting for their turn to speak instead of actually listening. You can tell when someone does not care about what you are saying. Story 7. Talking during a show or event where the audience is expected to be listening is too common among adults and needs to stop. I was at a 5th grade graduation for my niece today, and 2 men who had kids there were chatting behind me while the speeches were happening. Were the speeches great? No, but be respectful, it was only 40 minutes. I have also listened to people talk during the symphony, an event specifically for listening. If you do this, just know I am eavesdropping and judging you. Story 8. They are very passionate about religion or politics and cannot discuss topics outside those themes. Story 9. When someone expects me to move out of their way while they are bulldozing towards me, it can be difficult. An unhinged person did this to me, and I decided to keep walking. She then turned around and struck me in the back of the head. Needless to say, a full altercation escalated after she did this. Story 10. Not washing their hands after using the toilet, including just urinating. Gross, ignorant, selfish behavior. Story 11. Casual racism. As I got older, I became less tolerant of it. I do not like confrontation, so there are a handful of people who are left guessing why I avoid them. Story 12. Lying. People laugh about how they lied about something. They laugh about having their children lie for various reasons and about lying to their children. I think people lie much more than we realize, but joking about it shows they do not care about honesty. Story 13. People complaining about someone's behavior without telling them or assuming they know their mistake. This happens all the time in workplaces. I understand that some things can't be brought up, but sometimes a simple, "Hey, did you know you're meant to be here at this time to do this?" Or, "Please, could you ask me for help in this way instead?" would help. I know we aren't here to raise people or be their boss, but honestly, talking negatively when you don't have the courage to address it is such a poor approach. Story 14. Leaving random items on store shelves because people realize they do not need or want them anymore. Walked through Costco the other day, and it was bleak. Story 15. Those who do not wait in line and insert themselves, especially during rush hours, have no respect. Story 16. Trying to deceive people using loopholes just because it is legal. Legal does not mean morally correct. Story 17. Telling white lies about the amount of time or effort required to do something. It's only a couple of blocks. Narrator. It turned out to be a 25-minute walk, uphill. I'm on my way. Narrator. He was on his way in the sense that he had finally decided to get out of bed and into the shower, but he would not leave for another 20 minutes, and he would not arrive for another hour and a half. You do not need to bother, it will be fine. Narrator. You did need to bother, and now your entire day, event, or errand has been ruined. It happens all the time, and it really frustrates me. Story 18. I hate when someone makes fun of somebody else's name. Names have an extremely high emotional value, and a surprising number of people do not realize how attached one gets to them over the course of one's life. Story 19. Avoiding difficult situations or conversations. Not realizing that you do what you deliberately complain about. Being a hypocrite and not seeing it. Thinking you are above people or more intelligent and talking down to them as if they are an idiot. Not taking life seriously. Complaining about problems but never doing anything to fix them. People not defending their arguments. I saw this and have to put it. Flakers. People who flake on plans, especially at the last minute, really upset me. I have more, but that is all I have for now. Story 20. Rehoming a dog for anything other than very extreme emergency reasons should only be done to close friends or family. For example, if you and your partner want human children and having your dog does not fit into that plan, I am sympathetic, but you should have considered that before getting the dog. Now you have an obligation to care for the dog until it dies peacefully of natural causes. If doing so requires you to put other family plans on hold, then that is what you do. Story 21. I lose respect for people who accuse Americans of asking for handouts for simply demanding that the government benefit Americans with their stolen tax money. If the government is taking taxes out of your pay every payday, then you have every right to ask for your share. It is your money. Why should it not benefit you? If you are okay with the government doing whatever it wants with the money it takes from you, that is your business. That does not qualify you to criticize others for demanding benefits from a government that takes their money every payday. Story 22. When someone remains neutral in a situation but clearly takes sides by allowing an immoral act to pass, there is a difference between being civil and being cowardly. Story 23. Cheating. Especially when they scapegoat, saying, "Everybody does it. All men are like that. What the heck? Don't you dare lump me in with your disrespect." Story 24. I'm from California, and I cannot stand the Valley Girl personalities. I want nothing to do with anybody acting like that. I do not know why. It is just a big pet peeve. Story 25. If someone devotes their life to being the best at their job, I feel like their priorities are wrong. You do not have to be the best. Ever. It is a job, not your life. Story 26. Recording, filming, or photographing people with your phone in public without permission, especially strangers, is problematic. Many people defend it or act like it is okay just because it is legal. However, they cross the legal line when they post it online for cyberbullying. Story 27. If an animal doesn't like you, my dad taught me when I was young that you can always trust an animal's judgment of character. It has proven true every time. My husband is a very good man, and we have yet to pass a dog that doesn't want to jump into his arms. Story 28. Fathers who say, "I don't know how to insert childcare or homemaking task here." Men are perfectly capable of learning how to care for children, how to keep a home, and how to be emotionally available members of a family. Story 29. Not being at least a bit curious about things, such as not asking questions or showing interest in how things work. Story 30. Gossip. I hate people who talk about others behind their backs and do not give that person an opportunity to defend themselves. Story 31. Posting pictures or videos of your children publicly online on any kind of social media platform such as Instagram, YouTube, or TikTok. Story 32. When someone is really into dogs but dislikes or even hates cats, especially if they believe cats are unpleasant or evil. Super religious individuals who bring their deity into everything. They think science is fake because they do not understand it. They think poorly of less fortunate people. They are rude to service workers. They believe women or people of color are less intelligent, responsible, or hardworking. An overall lack of empathy. When people who grew up in rural America dislike city dwellers, and vice versa. Classist attitudes in general make me lose respect for people very quickly. Story 33. People who ask for advice do not take the advice given. Then they end up doing the same thing as before, getting upset, asking for the same advice that has already been given, and repeating the cycle. It is exhausting. Story 34. Trash talking the parent who has custody of your children is an instant no and a huge red flag. Walk away. Story 35. Them making comments about my body and health with zero idea about my actual daily life while we are eating at the table. Story 36. If you talk to people about your religion and they say they are uncomfortable, or people get offended when I say I don't like physical affection. Story 37. When someone is always late, it is frustrating. I stopped talking to a friend because she was always late. Freaks me out. Story 38. Sending me videos of wild animals being kept as pets. I know some animals are unreleasable, but I highly doubt that a raccoon sitting in a high chair eating a cupcake is actually a rescue that was deemed unfit to be returned to the wild. Story 39. When they are too pushy, for example, I had a teacher who asked someone to read a word, but they would not. For whatever reason, she became very upset, saying that the class would not continue until they read it. I could not fully respect her afterwards. Story 40. Going out of your way to kill a bug. I understand being afraid of them, and that is okay, but people who purposefully squash ants and other insects when they are outside just make me angry. Story 41. Casual racism or homophobia. People who interrupt in a conversation. People being nosy but trying to make it sound like genuine concern. Story 42. People who cannot agree to disagree without being disrespectful. No, we do not have to share the same opinions, views, political stance, or life experience to respectfully disagree. Good Lord. Story 43. Spanking children is not an effective form of punishment. In addition to moral concerns, scientific research has shown that it does not work. Story 44. Use of cringe as an adjective. This is very cringe, yo. Rather than its intended verbal use, this subject makes me cringe. Story 45. As a retail worker, someone coming in 5 minutes before closing saying, "I'm just here for one thing. I'll be fast," is never true. It is always untrue. Story 46. Being religious is the only thing humans are willing to accept without any evidence. Otherwise, so-called intelligent people believe in fairy tale nonsense and wishful thinking. It is a deal breaker for friends and potential partners. Story 47. When people hate wealthy individuals, I understand disliking the actions some people with money take, but it feels wrong to hate all of them as a group, especially since some people have worked very hard to become financially successful. I am sure if any of us were offered $100 million, we would not turn it down. Story 48. If you pull out or look at your phone while in my presence without excusing yourself, you have already disrespected me and upset me. In my mind, anyone not present can wait unless it is an emergency. In that case, a simple hold that thought, I need to take this, is perfectly fine. Everyone is so absorbed in their phone that they are not present anymore. I will stop mid-sentence and consider you not worth my time if that happens during our conversation. Story 49. I don't know if it's normal, but it was in my ex-partner's family. His brother had a habit of walking in on female family members and girlfriends in their bedrooms while they were changing. It was apparently a joke that he had seen his mother, his sister-in-law, and me half or fully naked. I lost respect for the entire family that day. Story 50. Pursuing someone who already has a partner. Confidently giving advice about things they know nothing about. Story 51. People who make a mess in retail stores or pick something up to look at it for a minute and then put it back in the wrong spot are intentionally lazy and rude. Story 52. People who are not able to stay in a relationship longer than a few months. I will look past it if you are under about 21, but if you are still having 4 to 5 complete relationships in each calendar year in your 30s, I am not here for it. Story 53. People who get all of their information from audio and video sources, rather than reading to verify those claims or to obtain that information in the first place. Story 54. This is petty, but someone saying sixth instead of sixth, or more recently, fifth instead of fifth. Story 55. Being unable to admit they do not know something tells me they care more about maintaining superficial appearances than learning, growing as a person, or gaining a deeper understanding of something. In other words, they are hollow people with no substance beneath the surface. Story 56. Talking to their significant other constantly, like on every break in video chats when they are with you, indicates insecurity and trust issues. The right answer when dating someone who does not trust you or claims they need to work on these issues is to break up with them. They can come back to you after they address their codependency and anxiety. They are not ready for a real relationship if they put the responsibility of feeling comfortable when you are away for an afternoon on you. It is their issue to deal with, yet it interrupts all of your time away. This behavior is deeply problematic. Story 57. People in the cinema take out their phones during the movie to check social media every 5 to 10 minutes. Story 58. Having someone tell you during the active phase of COVID-19 that as long as you are vaccinated, do not have a fever, and wear a mask, you can come to work is concerning. It is unpleasant to sit on a bus with children sneezing and coughing. I was a school bus aide, but I am not anymore. Additionally, I contracted COVID-19 again 3 months later. I called in with a fever and will not return to work until the new year. Story 59. Maybe not lose respect, but feel weird and upset about it. When someone is selfish to the extent of not caring about what is going on in the world and what other people are going through. Story 60. Being a feminist misandrist. Yes, it is normalized. Story 61. Being a people pleaser. Being fake, not being your unique self. Trying to conform. Never speaking out. Expressing your thoughts and opinions. Losing yourself. Discarding your opinions and entire identity to please others. Hiding your true self. Oh wait, this is exactly how I behave. Story 62. Having outdoor or outdoor cats can be risky, especially if you understand how dangerous it is. I have a friend whose young, healthy outdoor cat disappeared a few months ago. I hope it was adopted by someone who thought it was a stray, but I realized that probably was not the case. This friend then adopted another kitten and is keeping it outside, which infuriates me. All I can do is like their photos and say, "Oh, cute." Do they not feel guilty at all about the other cat who probably died a horrible death? Story 63. Chewing with your mouth open. Talking during a movie. Talking on speakerphone in public. Texting while driving. Tipping poorly. Gossiping. Story 64. I am a 30-year-old male. I met a man who needed help as he got up from the ground. I am coming out of a 4-year relationship where I was cheated on. This man called his ex, whom he acknowledged has a boyfriend, and proceeded to flirt with her and talk about how he used to help her with personal grooming, which was very uncomfortable to hear. He talked about wanting to come get her just to hang out as friends. I walked away and later told him that he and his ex are the kind of people I do not respect. Story 65. People showing me pictures or websites on their phone. If I ask to see your baby, kid, car, vacation, garden, or whatever, then fine. If we're talking about something technical like how to fix your lawnmower and you have a picture of the problem, great. But otherwise, I just want to have a conversation with you. I don't want to see the YouTube clip you think is funny. I can scroll through that on my own. Send me the link and maybe I'll look at it later. Story 66. Always being late. Those who do it act like it is just a personality trait. Yes, everyone is occasionally late because things happen, but if someone is always late, it shows a lack of respect for other people's time, not to mention that they are clearly making no attempts to correct it. Story 67. Talking about human rights during casual gatherings, specifically discussing how certain people should not have certain rights. Can you believe those men in women's sports? Okay, well, I do not know why you decided to turn this casual family dinner into my TED Talk, but welcome. No, sit down. No one is leaving and you do not get any cookies. Story 68. Her. Those liberals. Kind of humor. I'm sure the other parties are involved, but I see liberal hate most often. There is a video. The person in that video somehow makes the Batum TSSS sound organically. It's amusing. Somehow, somewhere, somebody is replying with comments like, haha liberal. What the heck? Story 69. Self-destructive lifestyles such as drinking alcohol, smoking, and eating unhealthy food. Lack of self-respect. Story 70. Fed is best, people. I don't care. It's a dumb slogan. Feeding your baby is a given. Formula is fine, but let's not act like it's just as good as breast milk. It's not. I didn't breastfeed my kids as long as I would have liked due to ignorance and exhaustion. It is what it is, and my kids are healthy. But I'm not going to pretend they were getting the best when I gave them formula. They weren't. They were getting second best. Sometimes you can't give your kids the best thing. We do our best, but it's not the best all the time. Story 71. When I find out that they subscribe to a religion that celebrates a man who agreed to kill his own son in ignorant, superstitious obedience to a voice from a bush, it is sad to say that means several billion people I have no respect for. But so be it, because that is a wrong and ugly attitude to have. Anyone whose morality is intact at its core would condemn Abraham for failing in his most basic duty as a father and as a human being, not to mention as a critical thinker. They would especially condemn the deity who asked him to do it. Story 72. Someone who does not look at you when you talk to them. I do not mean not making eye contact. I mean literally looking in a different direction. I understand if there is something interesting going on, but when there is nothing, it just makes me feel like they do not care about what I am saying or are not listening at all. Story 73. Smoking, drinking, using drugs, even if it is just marijuana, and clubbing. I am the kind of introvert who likes to stay in calm, secluded places, and I hate substances, all of them, including alcohol. I view these things as trashy. I also cannot stand religion, but I understand that it is a different issue. I know I am most likely in a very small minority, but I will always stick to my beliefs. Story 74. Using offensive language does not make you appear intelligent or amusing. It reflects poorly on your character. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.